Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and welcome to the Amateur Otaku podcast. I'm your host, Isak Wolff, and this is a very heartfelt episode as we're covering a very heartful series that I can't do it by myself. I am joined by my co-founder and a good friend, and an Alvarado, Scarlet fan. How's it going, bud?
It's awesome, man. Really excited to talk about this show. What a heartwarming change of pace and perfect for, I don't know, Valentine's Day or whatever it is that people celebrate in February.
Yeah, you know what's ironic?
What's wrong? What's
You know
ironic?
what's the I got my first epileptic seizure in on Valentine's Day.
That is a lot of information that I have no idea what to do with. But thank you for sharing. And that's kind of, I mean, well, let me ask you this. Being that you brought it up, I feel that I need to ask the question. I mean, were you enjoying Valentine's Day with someone when it happened? Or,
No,
oh, okay.
no, no.
Okay.
Although
So,
I have enjoyed some other Valentine's days, but that's besides the point.
but yeah, so we're gonna talk about the show. You recommended the show. This show came out last year. It's made by Cloverworks, which is the great studio behind a portion of Fairy Tale, a great studio behind Darling and the Franks. They're the studio behind Spy Family, that's coming out later this year, which is supposed to be a very popular show or a very popular manga for a while. But Isaac, you're the one that recommended that we would do Horimiya, which I think it was a great recommendation and perfect for the time. But how did you discover it? Why is this story? Why do you like the show so much? As we jump into this non-spoiler review.
It's funny because I follow. I don't know if you know the guy, but I follow a voice actor known as Alejandro Sab, or as he called himself, Kage Films,
Okay.
and he has voiced. He has. I think he is the English voice actor for the detective in My Hero Academia,
Oh, nice. For
if I'm
the
not
for the
mistaken.
first, I think I know. Yeah, I think I know who you mean.
And I was just looking, and he is mentioned. Oh, fun fact: Square Enix produced this
Yes,
anime
yes,
also.
I did see that. They've been producing a lot of anime and manga for years, but like they're putting their name out there a lot more now, right? Because like
Yeah.
they have a lot of they
Also,
have their
you missed a key moment that Cloverworks have done also. That has some of our more infamous episodes.
what?
Promise Neverland.
Oh yeah, they're behind the the amazing season 2. Um yeah.
But anyway, to give a quick recap, this is essentially a story about a popular girl that people think just is a traditional popular girl, but she's very different at home. And she meets one day what she's seeing is a traditional goth moe type of guy that no one really knows anything about, and her entire point of view of the guy switch when she suddenly meets him outside of school, and they bond together and fall in love and all that jazz.
Yeah.
And the reason why I like this episode is like this series is probably because, sure, there is a couple of times that where, how should I put it? They clearly play some gags up for jokes and just comedy, and it's just extra effect. But they don't. They how should I put it? It feels like a natural relationship. It's not just some will they want they bullshit. If you get what I mean.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I think
And
that's the strongest. Good.
sure, we have one part of the series which is will they won't they, but at the same time there isn't a will they won't they with another two characters. So it's just refreshing to see that there isn't really a. It just it allows you to take you to a ride on how they proceed, and not if they are going to start the whole journey or not.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah,
That's
I think.
that's what makes this so special. Even though it's nothing extraordinary, it's not Shakespeare. It's just something not harmful that you can look at, and it's a, how should I put it? It's just a it's it's a it's a traditional traditional example of feel good show.
Yes. Yeah. I can definitely see all that, and I think the way I would word it would be that it is a very simple yet grounded show. I think what makes this show so good is how it's very anime in so many moments because um, this show, produced by Cloverworks, Square Enix, um, it is very stylized, which I love about it. You know what I mean? Like when it's very anime, it's very anime, especially in the comedic moments. The intro, like, by the way, I dig the intro song. It's amazing. Um, and all the character models look great and they just jump off the page. So the animation is beautiful. But also, there's a lot of style that goes into the sincerity of the show, which is the sincerity of the characters. Like every character feels very clear and transparent and sincere. Like a lot of the characters that we meet are people that we've probably met. You know what I mean? These are
Oh,
people that,
I can tell you right now that every character on this series reminds me of someone I know or have
yeah,
known of.
yeah, it's someone that we know or someone or a moment that we have gone through in one way, shape, or form. You know, so in the way this
I
show
can.
captures our teenage life or most people's teenage life, I like how it's very broad. You know what I mean? Like for a moment, in a lot of ways, I kind of felt bad because I kind of didn't like in some points because this is a 13 episode show, right? So they
Mm.
capture pretty much the entirety of the show of the story in those 13 episodes. I don't think there's going to be a second season. And if there isn't, that's okay because guys, these 13 episodes capture so much and you want more, but you feel satisfied with how it turns out. And like in some moments throughout the middle of the series, I kind of felt I kind of didn't like that we spent less and less time with Hori and Miyamura, but I like how the time that we didn't spend with them is because they wanted us to show us a different pairing dynamic, you know, because we explore different couples and different pairs, and how those different relationships work because they work for them. And it kind of goes to the argument that not every relationship is the same, and that's okay. You were gonna say something, Isaac.
I can even admit that both Hori and Remy reminds me of two ex I've had, but that's besides the
Wow.
point.
I mean, of course, we all know that you picked the show because you consider yourself a low-key Miyamura, but that's fine.
What does that even mean?
I don't know either. I don't know. You own a cake shop? No, I'm kidding. He does not own a cake shop. Do you own a cake shop?
No.
Um, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff here. I mean, it's all about relationships. It's about friendships. That moment where friendships can be something more. Um, those moments where friendships cannot be something more. It's about reciprocated love and unreciprocated love. Um, how love is just one stage in life, or how not being with someone doesn't really mean your life ends. You know what I mean? I like how it captures all those feelings throughout all the different characters. And I kind of find it interesting because so the main characters, of course, are Kyoko Hori and Miramura. And I like how their happiness, their story doesn't lose steam. And I like how they use other characters to show different examples without making their relationship suffer. You know what I mean? Like some shows
Yeah.
will show you all the up and downs, all the ups and downs of a relationship. They'll show it through one relationship, but then they sacrifice the main relationship of the story. No, it's like they're happy. They have a good relationship that is healthy, that they try and figure out life together, and you enjoy all of that with no tragic ending. You know what I mean? This is not Your Lie in April where you're gonna end up crying, right? I think if you ever shed a tear in this film, in this series, is because of how simple and sincere it is, and because a lot of the real moments you feel them. And I also like how stylized it is when you get to those moments. Like every time a character has either a breakthrough or a very important introspective moment, you have that stylized thing where like their shadow kind of like separates from them in color.
Yeah.
Like I like that touch because I like that they use it to mean something. Like the light bulb went off, because we all have had that, right? We all have that moment where the light bulb goes off, and those are the moments that we have to make a decision whether to stay with one person or leave one person, or follow through in a love interest, or not follow through, or follow through on a feeling or not, or move on or not let go, you know. um I don't know, I like that a lot about the show. um
Also, I do honestly like that this is a show that show off that there is more and then meets the eye
yeah.
to people than just, oh, look, I get a picture. Character X or person X or person Y is like that. Okay, but just also it's rather, how should I put it? This is, I wouldn't call this super spoilerish, but when you see uh, Miyamura cut his hair going to
Mm-hmm.
school, then
Mm-hmm.
and just the immediate shift from, oh, a lonesome loner to, oh, he's so handsome, like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that it's so for every girl slash boy if they do something like that, but there is there. How should I put it? I know that I looked looked very specific when I started in a school, because I didn't have the time to cut my hair and fix the beard, all things together when I started it. Then I went back to school, the fresh haircut, the fix the beard, and when I got into the classroom, people look. looked at me shocked and just, as in, who the heck are you, kind of thing,
Yeah.
but not in a bad way.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
it kind of goes to show you that you never know who's looking at you. And that is so true in a high school setting, right? Like everybody's paying attention to you when you least expect it, especially when you think that nobody's paying attention to you, you know? Um it's a crazy thing how how teenagers work, right? And also going back to that point with Miyamura, or the example that you made also, I like how the focus of the show is literally that nobody is what they seem, or just because you see someone in one scenario, it doesn't mean that that's all they are, you know? Like I like how they make it a point that
exactly,
sometimes sometimes to really know someone, if you really want to know someone, you have to open yourself to viewing them from all aspects. And which is why the premise with Hori and Miyamura works so well, because the first time they quote unquote meet, which is not true because they're classmates, but the first time that they really meet, it's outside of school. Is
yeah,
where that side that nobody knows is the one that meets with each other. And that's why it's sincere, because it's like the idea of personas, right? Like the idea that you wear a particular mask depending where you're going. You know, you wear a mask when you go to work. You wear a mask when you go to school. You wear a mask when you're out in the supermarket. You wear a mask when you're at home, right? There's certain things that you're willing to open to other people, and there's certain things that you're not. And I like how it spans the whole relationship to the point that the big line, and this is not necessarily a spoiler, because of course we already told you that they get together and it's all about that relationship. That's why it's not a spoiler. That's the bulk of the show. The fact that because they understand this, these kids understand this, that's why their words to each other is, I feel that I've barely scratched the surface in knowing who you are, and I want to know more. You know what I mean? And I would say
yeah,
that was one of the most sincerest, one of the most sincerest expressions of love, right? That you want to meet this person, that you want to know more. And sometimes we don't appreciate that in our lives.
yeah, absolutely. And it's just, we all have our ups and downs. It just show that it's how should I put it? It also just show that they don't romanticize the whole thing about high school and all that. Yes, sure, it's anime and just getting a bit. You can argue that get a bit over dramatic at times. I'm not
Right.
gonna argue that,
Right.
but you're sort of like, how should I put it? Even if some might be luckier than the other, there is still no perfect. They don't live in a perfect bubble, so to speak.
Right.
And I think it's specifically focusing on Miyamura, considering what considering he still dwells on to the, the little thing that he has inside of him that has caused this first impression that people have on him.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like a, even though Seb would to some extent argue that although why Hori and Miyamura is the main characters, to some extent I would argue that Miyamura is the main character, if that makes any sense, because it's
Yeah.
approximately of proxy of how we all have had, even if we were unlucky to have not the same luck as he did, we had the changes in something changed in high school or something we try to learn how to adjust or something like that. And he had, I dare argue that he had the one that adjusted the most out of all of them, all things considered.
And you know what? It's interesting that you mentioned that because as you was thinking about that, um, I would agree and disagree at the same time. Because yes, we kind of gravitate more towards Miyamura because you would say that he has the most backstory and the most emotional baggage, right? And a lot of
Yeah,
times we link that to importance in a story. Does that make sense? So
yeah,
on those grounds, I agree with you. But what I like about the show, which is why I think that Hori and him stand in equal ground to a degree, is that even though her struggle is not the same level as his, or at least I'm not. See, I don't want to say that her struggle is not the same as his. Is different. It's
I know.
how she when she starts thinking about the future, when she starts thinking about life
Yeah,
post graduation. Because the funny thing is,
yeah,
her struggle was dealing with the future. His struggle was dealing with his past. And it's how both of them dealing with those two things together in a way is how they pave their own way,
fair point.
which is beautiful, which is what you have on the best partner, right? Like you always talk about. I mean, no relationship is perfect, but you can think about the idea that you want someone by your side that may not be exactly the same as you or may not like the same things as you do, but there's something that brings you together where you can see future working better with that person in both ways, right?
Mm,
um
yeah,
and there's a lot of that on the show that's nice. But I think going into the idea of all the different relationships, I like how they're always the main characters and their struggles are always forefront. But I kind of towards the end of it, I kind of liked a little bit the fact that we get a little bit of exploration. In the beginning, I didn't like it because I wanted more Hori and Miyamura. I wanted more Hori and Miyamura. I wanted more and more and more. But I kind of understood towards the end why we had the other pairings because you have very different relationships and I like how they make it a point. Not every relationship is the same. Not every relationship is meant to bloom in the same speed or in the same way. Like you have people that are already in a relationship, people that want to be, people that don't know if their relationship should mature, and people that relationship is maturing, right? And I like how you're able to see all these different avenues. But not only that, they're all friends. They're all in the same nucleus, which kind of shows you that a lot of these different things can happen in front of you. And at the end of the day,
yeah,
what really matters is that you focus on your shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like none of them get in their own way. Not everybody has to make their own decisions. And I like how they make it a point of that. Did you notice how every time an episode go through, like even though other people got involved in the conversation or in discussion, I like how the show went out of its way to make it a point that a relationship only goes to where the persons want it to go. Like even though they're
yeah.
surrounded by people, the relationship is between those two people. And makes it very singular and I don't know, I just like the direction and the emphasis on those points because I think we were talking off the air and you said that this used to be a video drama.
Webcomic.
Okay. So, how
Do you know
similar
what
is this?
webcomic is?
I think is it a voice comic online?
Not really. Uh, how should I put it with a webcomic? Let me put up the. what is I can't. I don't find it's more a still it's more still picture and all that jazz. And let me see. Um, what is considered a webcomic? Webcomics, also known as online comics or internet comics, are comics published on a website or mobile app. Webcomics range from traditional comic strips and graphic novels to guard comics and cover many genre styles and subjects. It sometimes takes on the role of a comic blog.
Interesting. So let me see. Oh,
One
I see
Punch
it.
Man, for example, One Punch Man, for example, originated as a web comic and not a manga.
Nice. Da, 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 da,
And
da,
that
da, da, da,
and that
da,
web comic
da,
looks god
da.
awful.
And I mean, it doesn't look that bad. I was looking at it just now. It looks okay. But the anime I think is great. I mean, it's available in Funimation. You guys can did you look at it in Crunchyroll or Bakunin?
Like, I mean, I watched it
Um,
now in dub and sub and read the entire manga. So
nice.
can pretty much say that I like this show.
No, I love the show too. And personally, I I'm a big fan of subbed. Like I love listening to the original Japanese voice actors, but I found that the dub cast was so good and so charming. Like I pretty much watched the entire series dubbed. The English voice acting
Did
cast for the
you
show was just great.
just curious? Did you watch it with your gal?
I did not. I did not. She watched a little bit with me, but not the whole thing. She said the animation was
Okay.
cute, so I can't blame her. It's cute as hell. The animation is cute as hell. But yeah, guys, I mean, you guys got to go check out Horimiya. It's a great show about relationships. It's very sincere. It's not over the top. It's not overly dramatic. I think that's what this show has going for it, is that every episode is packed with great moments, great comedy, great characters, and very sincere storytelling. You're gonna fall in love with Hori. You're gonna fall in love with Miyamura. You're gonna get scared with Hori, and then you're gonna feel bad for Miyamura in a lot of different moments. But it is such a great, charming show. I have to say that there's a lot of characters here that I like. Um, I have I love I think my favorite character though is Toru. Because I kind of identify with him the most to a degree. Um, I don't really identify with Miyamura, but I do identify with Toru and what he went through with Hori and what he's going through with Yoshikawa towards the end of the show. There's a lot of great stuff there. Um, I don't know, man. I always love a show that I can identify with. And if you've ever fallen in love, if you've ever had great relationship, great friends, you're gonna love Horimiya. It's a great show. Gotta check it out.
Yeah, and
Um,
well, uh, that said, where can people find you, Brandon?
so if you love what we do, if you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter at the Scarlet Fan 52, and you can find me on Instagram at the Scarlet Fan 52. If you love what we do here at the Amateur Otaku Podcast, you can find us on Twitter at Amateur Otaku Pod, or you can go to our YouTube channel, click on the like button, and click on the bell for notifications so you do not miss any episodes of the Amateur Otaku Podcast. We have great episodes and great content every single week. And we look forward to seeing you there in the comment section and sharing with your friends. And definitely go check out Horimiya. It's awesome.
Yeah, and well, you can find me my work over at the Woman Entertainment, and you can find us well here on YouTube, and you can find me on Emblemaniac on Twitter, and well, we were supposed to record Nini Resurrection this week, but That's end up coming to next week. So don't you worry. We're also going to do Ultimate Teacher as another commentary track, which shall be enjoyable to do. So, and Brandon is just dreading it right now. I know.
Yes, because it's going to be enjoyable to him, which
I know.
eh.
And I also found a third one that two other ones that we could use are because Brandon here wants to cover the new Evangelion movies, and for old time listeners, well, you all know how much I hate that series. Well, we said 3 for 3, so that's
it's a very dark. This is a very dark alley transaction.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But have it awesome.
But anyway,
Isaac, where can people find you?
Yeah, like I said, Emblemaniac on Twitter.
Have it awesome, guys.
Peace.